Hello lace knitters, this is Lisa with Old Orchid Yarnery, and I'm here with our second session of our Building with Lace class, and I wanted to demonstrate a couple of the special stitches for you. First, I'll just show you where we're at so far. This was our first section that I think you've all done by now, or you're almost finished with it. And when we meet again this next, in a couple of weeks, at the end of April, we will be working on this section here, which is called Japanese lace. So in your book, it starts on page 14, and there's two special stitches in here. Some of the other stitches you will recognize from our first section. We've got the knit two togethers, yarn overs, and SSKs. So you recognize those already. The new stitches this month are the PKOK and the Bobble stitch. So the PKOK is what's shown down here at the bottom. You end up with this little bar below, and then the stitches are opening up. Then we've got some yarn overs in the rows above that have produced these eyelets, and then here's the bobble. So let me show you how to work them. First thing we do is be sure to use your markers. You're going to want to put your markers every 10 stitches because that's your repeat on the chart. You can also use the written instructions if you want to. I've got a marker after the first 5 stitches because that's my border that we're maintaining. Remember, by slipping the first stitch purlwise with the yarn in front and then knitting, we end up with this nice slip stitch edge that looks very pretty. And then we've got this garter border. And then the last 5 stitches as well, I've got a marker for that too. So the chart on this design starts with here it is right here. Starts with 2 stitches before the red line, which is our repeat. And then here between these red lines is what we're repeating, everything in between here until we get to the end. And then we've just got 7 stitches on the end. So because of that, my first section here has 12 stitches because I've got my 2 before the repeat and then the 10. And then I've got them every 10 stitches all the way across until the very end. I just have 7 before my border stitches. So it'll all make sense as you get your set it up. Okay, so we're going to start by slipping the first stitch with the yarn in front and then knitting to create our garter border. Now I am on row 15 on the chart. So I show that I need to knit 2. That's the first 2 before I get to my repeat. And then I have to knit 6 before the PKOK stitch. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I'm going to demonstrate this both Continental and English style. I'll start with Continental. So to do the PKOK, that's going to be done over these 3 stitches here, these next 3 stitches. What we're going to do is we're going to take the 3rd stitch from the end of our left needle. So 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to take that 3rd stitch and I'm going to pass it over and off the needle. That's what gives that little bar that I showed you earlier. So now I'm left with 2 stitches here. So the P, that's pass, and now KOK. So we're going to knit and then yarn over and knit. And that's it. So we end up still with 3 stitches. It's just we took 1 and passed it over the others, and then we did the knit, yarn over, knit. Now after the PKOK, I've got 1 knit stitch there. Here I'm at the end of my repeat. So now I'm going to knit 6. I'll do 1 more Continental style and then we'll do English. 5 and 6. And now the PKOK is going to be over these 3 stitches here. So I'll take that 3rd stitch and lift it up and off the needle so it passes over those 2. And now I will knit the first one, do a yarn over, and knit that next one. And then there's a knit stitch, and now I'm at the end of my repeat. Okay, let's switch to English style. So we're going to knit 6. Three. 5 and 6. Okay, I've got 4 left, which is correct for row 15. So I'm going to work it over these 3 stitches. So I'm going to pick up the 3rd stitch, take it up and off, and now I'm going to knit 1. I'm going to do a yarn over, and I'm going to knit 1. And then knit the last one, and now I'm at my marker, which is my repeat. Do it one more time. Gonna knit 6. And 6. Now the PKOK stitch, so I'm going to pick up this 3rd stitch from the tip of the left needle using my right needle, up and off. Don't lose those 2. Use your fingers if you need to control them. And now we're going to knit 1, and then yarn over, and knit 1. And knit the last one for my repeat. So that's all there is to it for the PKOK stitch. We're going to do that as indicated all the way across, repeating to the end. And then when you get to the very end, you'll follow what's after the red lines for the last 7 stitches, and then knit your last 5 garter stitch border. All right, I'm going to go work my way up and come up to the next pattern row. So every even numbered row, or the wrong side, is going to be just purled. So I'm going to finish this row, purl back, and then I'll come back and do the next pattern row with you. Okay, so I've completed row 15 and 16, and now I'm going to do row 17. It's also row 7 on the chart if you're there. So we will start as usual with our slipping the first stitch as if to purl with the yarn in front, and then knit to the marker for our garter border. Okay, and then each row, right side row, starts with 2 knit stitches before the repeat. And now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches to knit. And then the pattern shows a knit 2 together. Again, these should be familiar stitches to you from the last section we did. Knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, SSK. And that takes us to the end of the repeat. So slip my marker, knit 5, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, SSK. Slip 1 as if to knit, slip second one as if to knit, insert the left needle tip into the front of those 2 stitches you just slipped, and knit them. All right, let's do English style here. So we're going to knit 5, and of course if you're on row 7 you won't knit 5, you'll start off with the knit 2 together, but I'm on row 17. 2, 3, 4, 5, Then knit 2 together. Yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, oop, there we go, yarn over, and SSK. Slip and slip and knit. That's the end of the repeat. All right, we're going to continue that all the way across. Then I will purl back, and then when I come back, we'll do the bobble stitch together. Okay, now it's time for a bobble. The written instructions for the bobble and the PKOK, by the way, are on the bottom of page 15, right down here, special abbreviations. So if you need to refer to that, you can. I'm going to show you what the bobble stitch looks like. I'm going to do it a couple of different ways. So I'm going to start off as usual, slipping with the yarn in front and knitting our garter border. Okay, so 2 stitches before the repeat begins. And now I'm on row 19, so I've got 2, 4, 7 stitches to knit before the bobble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Okay, so to do the bobble, you can tell you're at the right spot because we're right at the center above above the other eyelets down below, and you can see there's the PKOK stitch. See with that bar there? So we're directly above that, which is correct. So to start the bobble, we're going to knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, all into 1 stitch. So to do that, we knit 1, and now don't take it off the needle. You're going to swing your needle around and yarn over, and then knit 1. So we've now just created 3 stitches in that one. We're going to let it off. And now we're supposed to turn and purl. So I'll go ahead and do that, but then I'm going to show you an alternative. We're just going to purl those 3 stitches. If you don't want to keep turning around, I'll show you how to do it without turning. So purl. Then we're going to turn back again. And now we're going to do what really should, it's the same steps as a center double decrease. We're going to take these 2 first stitches and we're going to slip them together as if we're doing a knit 2 together. So we'll slip them off to the right needle. If I can get it in there, there we go. Slip those together as one. And now we're going to knit this stitch here. And now we're going to take those 2 that we slipped and pass them over the one that we just knit. We should grab them both together. And there's our bobble right there. Let me go ahead and knit to the end. All right, I'm going to show you this a couple more times. The way it is in the directions, and then I'll show you an alternative so you don't have to turn the work around. 3, 4. All right. 7. Again, I can tell I'm at the right spot because here's that stitch right over the other pieces of this lace component. So we're going to knit, yarn over and knit into this 1 stitch to make 3. So that's what that looks like again. We're going to knit, don't take it off the needle, swing the needle tip around and yarn over, and then knit into that stitch again. So we've created three stitches from 1. Now we're going to turn it around and purl those 3 stitches. And purl the 3rd one. turn back around, and we're going to slip the first two stitches together as if you're doing a knit two together, but slip them over onto your right needle, then knit one, and then pass those two stitches you slipped together over the one you just knit. Now you notice I'm using my finger here to keep that stitch on the needle while I pass these over. There it is. And there's the bobble. Okay, I'm going to show you one more time Continental style, but I'm going to do it in an alternate way so that you're not turning to purl and then turning back around again. So let me get over to my stitch. So I need to knit 7. Okay. There's my one stitch over the rest of that lace motif. So we're going to knit, yarn over, and knit into that one stitch. And now the directions say to turn and purl. But instead of doing that, I don't like turning it back and forth. So I've learned how to purl backwards. So I'm going to insert my left needle. I'm going to wrap the yarn around, and I'm going to pull it through like this. So I'll insert my left needle behind, wrap my yarn, and come through. Insert behind, wrap my yarn. There we go. So now I've purled those 3 without turning them around. And now I'm going to slip the first 2 as if I'm knitting 2 together, but I'm just going to take them onto the right needle. I'm going to knit 1 and pass those 2 slip stitches over. And there's my bobble. Okay, I'll do that one more time, and then we'll go English style. All right, 7. Okay, so we're going to knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, and now we're supposed to purl across those 3, turn and purl. But remember, I'm doing it so I don't have to do that. So I'm going to insert my left needle behind, wrap my yarn, pull it through. Wrap my yarn, pull it through. Last one. Then we're going to slip these 2 together. Knit the 3rd one. And then pass the first 2 slipped stitches over together. And there's a bobble. Okay, so now let's do English style. All right, I have to knit 7 to get over to my bobble placement. Okay, here's my stitch. So I'm going to knit 1, and then I'm going to yarn over, and then go back and knit 1 again, all in that same stitch. And now the directions say to turn and purl. So I'll demonstrate that first here. Yarn in front. We're going to purl those 3 stitches. And we're going to turn back around. And we will slip the first 2 together. Knit the 3rd one. And then pass those 2 slipped ones over and off. And there's our bobble. Okay, now we'll do it English style without turning our work. So, knit 7. All right, there's 7. There's our bobble stitch. I'm going to go right here. So we will knit, but don't take it off. Yarn over and knit. All into the 1 stitch to make 3 out of 1. Okay, now we're going to purl back across those 3 without turning. So I'm going to insert my needle, wrap my yarn. See if I can do this English style. Just a moment. Wrap my yarn. There we go. And bring it through and off. Insert. Wrap my yarn. And really, I find it easier than bringing my left needle tip down and through. I find it easier when I'm going backwards like this to just lift with my right needle up and over and take it off. Here we go. Wrap my yarn. Okay, so now I've purled those 3. Now we're going to slip the first 2 as if we're doing a knit 2 together, but we're just going to slip them to the right needle. Then we're going to knit 1. And we're going to pass those 2 over. Now I want to show you something. If you get to the end of your bobble, or you're somewhere stuck in the middle of your bobble and you feel like it's not going right and you want to take it out, that seems kind of loose to me. I'm not very happy with that bobble. So here's all you have to do. Remember, we've built that whole thing in 1 stitch. So you see down here, this big elongated stitch underneath the bobble. Can you see that? All I'm going to do is I'm going to put that back on my left needle, and I'm going to pull the rest of this out. And I'm left with that 1 stitch when I first started. So if you get stuck in the middle and you need to undo your bobble, that's a really easy way to undo it. So do it again. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 1. Now I want to purl into those 3 without turning my work. So I'm going to go like this. It was that first one that got kind of loose when I was doing it before. There we go. That's better. 1. Wrap. Oops. Up and over. Now, if you find it easier to just go ahead and turn your work and purl across, then just do that. My personal preference is I just don't want to turn it around. But the directions in the book show to turn it around. Okay, I'm slipping those 2. I'm going to knit 1. And then pass those 2 over. And there's my bobble. All right, so you're just going to keep repeating that across to the end of your row. As you'll see in the chart, let me just show you here. As you'll see in the chart, it's designed so that this first number of rows in the chart has 2 of the lace motifs in it. And then you just knit some plain rows, stockinette, keeping your garter border, but stockinette. And then there's one offset in the middle, so that they're going to be like this. So here's the first set, and then here's the other set offset. Okay? All right, as always, if you have any questions or anything, just get a hold of me. Your lace is going to go just fine. I've loved seeing all your projects so far. They're just looking so beautiful. Happy knitting.